Hi there.
Our mission, as always, is to take, well, your essential source material,
Mhm.
those dense articles, maybe key vocabulary lists, critical business notes, and really synthesize them into actionable knowledge for you.
Exactly. And today we're building a highly targeted language shortcut.
That sounds useful.
Yeah, this deep dive is specifically designed for you, the learner, especially if you need rapid, thorough mastery of professional English.
Right.
We're laser focused today on the key vocabulary and phrases that are just essential for success in, well, business planning and also those dynamic sales contexts.
And the sources we looked at today gave us a real treasure trove, didn't they? It ranged from that very formal analytical terminology you need for financial documents all the way to those highly fluent, sort of idiomatic phrases people use when things get maybe a bit tense in a sales meeting.
Absolutely. And mastering that range, that's really the secret, isn't it? To sounding completely polished and professional.
Definitely. So how are we going to approach this for maximum learning?
Okay, so to maximize your retention and clarity, we're adopting a very deliberate, structured approach for each key term today.
Okay.
After we introduce, the strategic importance of the word or phrase, we'll then repeat it slowly.
Right.
We'll spell it out letter by letter, provide a crystal clear, practical definition, and then use it in context with some illustrative example sentences.
Right. That sounds really thorough. Repetition, spelling, definition, examples, got it.
That's the plan.
And we've organized this knowledge into two crucial areas, right?
We have. First, we're going to tackle the foundational language that's the planning and analysis phase, required when setting up any serious venture.
Like groundwork.
Exactly. And second, we'll move into the more dynamic language used, like you said, in the heat of sales execution and team strategy.
Perfect. Let's jump straight into that groundwork then.
Okay, so we begin with the foundational steps. These are things every serious entrepreneur just has to take. Our source material made it really clear that starting a business involves, well, far more structure than just enthusiasm.
Right. You need more than just a great idea. You need a written roadmap.
Precisely.
And that roadmap, the thing that really separates the dream from the reality, that's our first essential term. It pretty much defines everything that follows.
It really does. So our first term is business plan.
Okay, business plan. Now, before we get into the definition, let's just think strategically for a second. When someone asks you for a business plan, what are they really asking?
Good question.
They're asking fundamentally two things. Do you understand your risks?
Yeah.
And have you actually thought through how you're going to use resources, especially money?
Resource allocation, crucial.
Yeah. It's that moment you stop saying, oh, I have this amazing idea, and you start saying, okay, I have a structure. Here's how it works.
Absolutely. The plan forces clarity. It really does. So for you, the learner, here's how we break down the word. Business plan. Let's say it again slowly. Business plan.
Got it. And the spelling.
Okay, spelling is B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. Then the second word, P-L-A-N, business plan.
Okay. So what's the formal definition?
A business plan is essentially a foundational document. It explains what a business is, what it's going to do, how much money it needs, and really critically, how that money will be spent over a set period of time.
Right.
Its main purposes are, well, clarifying your internal goals, but also securing that all-important external funding.
That makes sense. So an example might be, if you were asking people for money, they definitely want to know where the funds will be spent and maybe what milestones you plan to hit.
Exactly.
So you absolutely must provide them with a detailed business plan, maybe outlining the first, say, 3 years of operation.
Perfect example. And here's another angle, a strategic takeaway.
Right.
We know many businesses unfortunately fail in the first year.
Yeah, the statistics aren't great.
They aren't. So writing a detailed business plan is a really important step to map out that critical period. It forces you to anticipate problems, not just, hope for the best.
Right. Anticipate, don't just hope. Okay. And who's the main audience for this meticulously researched business plan? Who are we trying to convince?
Well, that brings us very neatly to our next core term. These are the people who often hold the financial keys.
Yeah.
The source of that external capital we mentioned, investor.
Investor. Okay. Let's hear that again slowly.
Investor.
And spelling.
I-N-V-E-S-T-O-R.
Investor.
So who or what is an investor?
An investor is, it could be a person or a group, maybe an institution like a venture capital firm, and they give money to someone else's company or venture.
Okay, they put money in.
They put money in with the clear expectation that they will receive significantly more money back in return. We call that profit.
Right. profit.
Yeah. They're essentially, you could say, renting their capital to you. They're taking a risk, obviously, for a future reward. That's a great way to put it, renting their capital. It highlights the expectation. An investor isn't just like a friendly bank giving a loan you repay.
No, exactly. The dynamic is different. They often become a partner, in a way. They aren't just looking for loan repayment. They're typically looking for rapid growth, for the value of their share to increase dramatically.
Okay. So an example could be, to open her highly specialized organic food delivery company, she needed to find several early-stage investors. And these investors had to be willing to take a high risk on a new food tech venture, probably in exchange for equity, right?
Yeah.
A piece of the company.
Exactly. High risk, high potential reward. That's the typical early stage investor profile.
Got it. Now, imagine you're one of these investors. You probably get dozens of business plans flooding your inbox every single week.
Oh, absolutely. Easily.
They just don't have time to read the, 50 or 100 pages that someone spent months writing.
No way.
So they need a shortcut, right? A filter. Which leads us, I think, to probably the most critical 2 pages of the entire document.
Yes. This is absolutely crucial. We call this the executive summary.
Executive summary.
Okay.
Let's hear it slowly.
Executive summary.
And the spelling.
Okay. 2 words. First word, EXECUTIVE. Second word, SUMMARY. Executive summary.
Right. So what exactly does it do?
An executive summary is a highly condensed outline. It covers the most important points of a long paper or document, like a business plan.
Condensed is the key word there.
Absolutely. It typically highlights the core business idea, how much funding is needed, and the projected results or returns. And critically, it does this in 2 pages or less.
2 pages. That's tight.
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize that word executive. That implies the reader is, well, probably very busy, high up in an organization.
That's exactly who it's for.
So if that summary doesn't immediately grab them, doesn't convince them it's worth reading more,
then the rest of your beautifully written 80-page business plan might just never get read. It could end up straight in the recycling bin, unfortunately.
ouch.
Therefore, a highly effective executive summary has to be precise. It must give all the most critical information about the company at a glance. It allows the investor or the executive to make a really quick go or no-go decision.
So it's a document designed for speed and clarity above all else.
Totally. Speed and impact.
Okay, moving on. We've talked about the plan, the investor, the summary, but the sources also stress the importance of looking outside the business, right? Understanding the world your product is actually launching into.
Yes, external analysis. You can't operate in a vacuum.
Exactly.
Right.
And that means analyzing the people you plan to sell to, specifically things like their wealth, their position in society.
Which leads us to these crucial external pressures, these factors we need to understand. We call them socioeconomic factors.
Okay, that's a bit of a mouthful. Let's hear it again.
So socioeconomic factors.
Got it. Spelling.
It's a long one. SOCIOECONOMIC. That's the first part. Socioeconomic. Then FACTORS. Socioeconomic factors.
Okay, so what does this compound noun actually refer to?
It refers to variables, things that change, related to both the social status of a population, where potential customers fit in society, like working class, middle class, upper class,
Right.
and also their economic status, specifically how much money they make, their income level.
So it's society and economic money put together.
Exactly. And this analysis, understanding these factors, it dictates almost everything. Pricing, marketing messages, even where you sell your product.
How so?
Well, if you're selling a luxury product, maybe high-end watches, you have to confirm that the socioeconomic factors of your target area actually support that. Do people have enough disposable income?
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Conversely, if you sell cheap, high-volume items, maybe basic groceries, you'd look for different factors, perhaps a larger population density with more modest incomes.
Okay, so an example sentence could be, companies must deeply analyze the socioeconomic factors of their target customers, things like age, average income, family size, before launching a product.
Yes.
Because these details fundamentally define the market's potential size and, crucially, its willingness to spend.
Precisely. It defines your potential.
And speaking of measuring that economic status, especially when we talk about, say, large-scale national markets, our sources highlighted one single metric that's incredibly important for market assessment.
Ah, yes. This is where we get a bit more technical, but it's a really common one in business news.
Right. It's an acronym.
Yeah.
It is GDP per capita.
GDP GDP per capita. Let's say it again slowly.
Okay.
GDP per capita.
Okay. And the spelling.
Well, the first part is the acronym GDP. That stands for Gross Domestic Product. Then the second part, PER. The last word, CAPITA, GDP per capita.
Okay, let's unpack that fully. Like you said, GDP is gross domestic product. What does that mean?
Okay, so GDP, gross domestic product, is the total value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country, usually measured over a specific time, typically a year. It's the size of the whole country's economy, basically.
Okay, the total output. But the really critical part for understanding a market is the per capita bit, right?
Absolutely. Per capita comes from Latin. It just means per head or per person.
Okay.
So GDP per capita is simply the total GDP of the country divided by the number of people living there.
Why does that division matter so much? Why not just look at the total GDP?
Well, because total GDP tells you the size of the country's economy overall, which is useful. But GDP per capita tells you something about the average wealth or income of the individual citizen.
I see. And if you're selling something to individual people, like software licenses or consumer goods.
Exactly. Then you care deeply about that individual purchasing power. A country could have a huge total GDP, but if it also has a massive population, the GDP per capita might still be quite low.
Right. So the average person doesn't have much money to spend.
Precisely. And the sources gave some context here. A very low GDP per capita might be around, say, $500 per person per year.
Wow. Okay. That severely limits the market for anything beyond basic necessities.
For sure. Whereas a high GDP per capita, maybe $35,000 per year or more, that opens up vast markets for all sorts of goods and services, including luxury items and non-essentials.
Makes sense. So it's a key indicator for market potential.
Absolutely, which is why a nation's economic strategy often aims explicitly to increase the GDP per capita over, say, the next 5 years. It signals a stronger future market, attracting international companies. It's a fundamental screening tool for any global business plan.
Got it. GDP per capita, average economic output per person. Crucial metric. Okay. So we've built that analytical foundation with terms like business plan, investor, GDP per capita. Now let's shift gears a bit.
Right.
We want to transition to language that helps you sound completely fluent and natural when you're actually discussing these concepts in everyday professional settings.
Yeah, this is about upgrading your conversational style, making it sound less like textbook English and more like, well, how native speakers might actually talk in an office.
Exactly. And our first fluency builder is a phrasal verb. Now, if you've been speaking English for a while, you probably use the verb write quite comfortably.
Sure, basic verb.
But this little addition, this phrasal verb, it instantly elevates your language. It's to write up, as in to write up a business plan.
To write up. Okay, let's hear it again. To write up.
Spelling.
W-R-I-T-E, then U-P, write up.
So how is write up different from just write?
Good question. It's a colloquial, a very fluent way of saying to write or to create a document. But crucially, it almost always implies the creation and completion of a full, maybe formalized or final report, proposal, or plan.
Okay. So it suggests more completion, more formality.
Exactly. It suggests you've done the work, you've gathered the information, and now you're formalizing the output into a finished document.
So you might say, I'm going to write a sentence. That's fine.
Perfectly normal.
But you probably would say, I'm going to write up a sentence. That sounds a bit odd.
Right. It doesn't fit. But you would say, I need to write up a detailed proposal before the meeting tomorrow. That implies you're creating the full, finished document.
Okay. So it is perfectly correct grammatically to say, I need to write the plan.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
But using write up just sounds, well, more natural, maybe more native-like in a professional context?
It does. It adds a subtle layer of professionalism and sort of finality to the task, like the job's getting done properly.
Okay, write up for completing formal documents. Got it. Moving on. Let's return to the engine driving the investor's decision-making process. What are they ultimately looking for?
Yes. This phrase is just ubiquitous in business and finance. You hear it constantly. It's return on investment.
Return on investment. Let's slow that down.
Return on investment.
And spelling.
Okay, R-E-T-U-R-N, then O-N, then I-N-V-E-S-T-M-E-N-T, return on investment.
And you mentioned something earlier, the acronym.
Oh, absolutely. Remember, you will constantly hear or see the acronym ROI. People just say ROI all the time.
ROI. Okay, so what is it? What's the definition of return on investment or ROI?
It's the profit made from an investment. Specifically, it's the quantifiable money, or sometimes value, an investor receives back that is more than the initial amount they put in.
More than the initial amount. That's key.
Yes. It's usually calculated as a ratio or a percentage to show how effectively the investment generated profit.
Okay, so it's usually about money back. But let's push that meaning a bit. While it's traditionally monetary, has the term expanded. What if you say, invest time in training your team? You don't get cash back directly, but hopefully you get better performance. Is that still a return on investment?
That's a brilliant question. And yes, conceptually, absolutely it is.
Okay.
Any investment, whether it's capital, time, human resources, effort, ideally, it must yield a positive return in value.
Ah, value, not just money.
Right. Whether that value is measurable in higher sales, maybe faster project completion times, improved employee retention, better customer satisfaction, it's still an ROI. People will always want to know, okay, when will we begin to see a positive return on investment from this expenditure of resources, whatever those resources are?
That makes a lot of sense. It broadens the concept. But for a classic example, if the initial investment was, say, $1,000 in a marketing campaign,
Okay.
and the resulting sales profit directly from that campaign was $1,500.
Then the investor saw a $500 positive return on investment. It's that quantifiable profit directly attributed to that capital injection.
Got it. ROI, profit back initial investment. Okay, final phrase in this fluency section. This one's a wonderful idiom, I think. It perfectly captures that feeling of wanting to avoid difficulty or trouble.
Yes, it's highly expressive, and you hear it constantly in both casual and professional contexts. It's save myself the hassle.
Save myself the hassle. Let's hear it slowly.
Save myself the hassle.
And the spelling of hassle.
Hassle. Hassle. It just means trouble, difficulty, annoyance, hard work you don't want to do.
Okay, so to save myself the hassle means what?
It means to proactively avoid the problem, the trouble, or the hard work involved in doing some task.
Right. And the sources were careful to remind us that the pronoun, the myself part, is changeable, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It depends on who's avoiding the effort. You can save yourself the hassle, save himself the hassle, save herself, ourselves, themselves the hassle. It changes.
Okay. And this phrase, it adds a kind of emotional element to a decision, doesn't it? It signals that the effort required just seems to outweigh the benefit.
Exactly. It implies inconvenience or annoyance. For example, I decided to pay for the premium subscription for that streaming service instead of dealing with constant ads just to save myself the hassle of clicking skip every 5 minutes.
Ah, I can relate to that. Or maybe tying it back to the business plan idea. The startup founder realized the regulatory requirements for the new industry were just overwhelming, really complex. So she decided to stick to her old job, knowing it would save her all the hassle of dealing with endless legal bureaucracy.
Perfect example. It implies a conscious, strategic avoidance of complication or annoyance. A very useful, natural phrase. Okay, we're shifting gears again now. We've gone from planning to fluency and discussing plans, and now we move into execution.
Right, into the high-energy, goal-oriented language of sales.
Exactly. And this terminology comes directly from analyzing let's say a high-stakes sales team meeting in the source material we reviewed.
Okay, so this is language about action and results. And the first verb phrase is probably the core objective of nearly every commercial entity out there.
You could say that. It's about successfully increasing their revenue stream.
Right. We call this drive sales.
Drive sales. Let's hear it again. Drive. Sales.
Selling.
DRIVE, then SALES.
Drive sales.
So the definition. To drive sales means simply to increase sales, to sell more products or services. Yeah, pretty straightforward. But using the verb drive here is interesting, isn't it? It conveys forward momentum, energy, a directed effort toward achieving that goal. It sounds more active than just increase sales.
Well, that's a good point. It's more dynamic. So when a manager says, okay, team, we need to drive sales, they're asking for concrete, measurable actions, right? Not just hoping sales go up.
Absolutely. They want a plan. For example, if we really want to drive sales in this challenging quarter, we need to spend more time training our salespeople and maybe optimizing our online funnel. Actionable steps.
Yeah, or the strategic goal for Q4 is crystal clear. The most important thing for us right now is to focus on driving sales, perhaps by introducing new incentives for our regional managers.
Perfect. It's about proactive effort.
Now, one of the most immediate and, common ways to try and drive sales, especially targeting new or maybe hesitant customers, is through some kind of special offer.
Yeah, yes. We call this a promotion.
Promotion. Again, please.
Promotion.
Promotion. And we need to be really clear here, like the sources noted, this is not a job promotion where you move up in rank at the company.
No, definitely not. Very different meaning in this context. In a business or sales context, a promotion is a marketing strategy or maybe a specific campaign.
Okay.
It's designed to make people aware of a product and, crucially, encourage immediate purchase. It often involves things like discounts, special bundles, maybe 2-for-1 offers, free gifts, that kind of thing.
Right. Things to tempt the customer now. And we should probably analyze the strategic intent behind a promotion, shouldn't we?
Definitely. Why are they doing it? Is it maybe a loss leader where they sell one item really cheaply, maybe even at a loss, just to get people into the store hoping they'll buy other things?
Okay, that's one strategy.
Or is it maybe a bundled offer designed to clear out old stock before the new models arrive?
Right.
So, thinking strategically, a 2-for-1 promotion might be a good way to quickly attract new customers and also move inventory that's been sitting around.
Makes sense. Or another example. The department store is offering a seasonal promotion. For 3 days only, everything in the houseware section is 50% off. The goal there is probably just traffic and volume. Get people in the door.
Exactly. Drive immediate activity.
Okay. Now, when you're planning your pricing, your promotions, your strategy, you can't do it in a vacuum, right? You have to constantly look at what everyone else in your field is doing.
Oh, absolutely. You have to compare your product's price, its quality, your service level against the competition.
Which leads us to this crucial competitive phrase, match the competitors.
Match the competitors. Again, match the competitors.
Spelling?
M-A-T-C-H, then T-H-E, then C-O-M-P-E-T-I-T-O-R-S. Match the competitors.
And what does that mean, to match the competitors?
It means to be as good as, or sometimes demonstrably better than, other companies operating in the same industry.
Okay.
It's almost always used specifically in reference to price, like guaranteeing you'll meet or beat the lowest listed price they can find elsewhere.
Ah, price matching. That's a powerful sales tool, isn't it? It signals confidence.
It really is. Many retailers, especially for electronics or appliances, guarantee that they can match the competitor's lowest advertised price.
Right. The idea is to ensure the customer never has a reason to shop elsewhere based on cost alone. Removes that barrier.
Exactly. However, there's a risk involved too, isn't there?
Yeah, constantly trying to match the competitors on price could really hurt your profitability, your long-term viability, especially if your own costs, maybe your production costs, are higher than theirs.
Good point. So conversely, a company might say, it is actually impossible for us to match the competitors on price because our premium quality requires significantly higher production costs. We compete on quality, not price.
Okay, so it works both ways. Either you do match or you explain why you can't or won't. Now, the environment where you find these competitors, the whole playing field for your products and services, there's a key phrase for that too.
Yes. It defines the entire arena, if you like. It's in the market.
In the market. Say it again.
In the market. Spelling.
I-N-T-H-E-M-A-R-K-E-T. In the market.
And this idiomatic phrase, it's basically a fluent replacement for saying in the industry, or maybe among all the current range of products available.
Exactly that. It's used to position your product competitively against every alternative out there. How do you stack up in the market?
Right. So we often use this phrase to claim superiority or maybe affordability, like, our product is currently the cheapest in the market for its specific quality level.
Giving us a massive competitive advantage right now.
Or maybe a bit self-referentially. The deep dive is designed to be the most informative and efficient way to synthesize complex sources in the market for curious learners like you.
Huh. I like that one. Aiming high.
Always. Okay, our final phrase in this section. This one is perhaps the most forceful, maybe even dramatic expression of skepticism you might hear. It's the one that can immediately shut down an idea in a professional meeting, especially if it seems impractical.
Yes, this came right out of that tense sales discussion we analyzed in the source material. It's a blunt rejection. It is. It's the phrase, it'll never fly.
It'll never fly. Hear it again. It'll never fly.
Stop.
Okay. I-T''L-L. That's it will. Then N-E-V-E-R. Then F-L-Y. It'll never fly.
So this idiom, it'll never fly, means what exactly?
It means that an idea, a plan, a proposal, it just won't work. It won't be approved or it won't succeed if tried.
Okay, and why?
Often because it's viewed as impractical, maybe way too costly, or just fundamentally flawed in some way. It lacks feasibility.
And in the source material we looked at, the manager, Clark, He used this kind of dismissal quite a bit, didn't he?
He did. When an employee suggested, say, a significant shift in inventory management, Clark immediately shot it down, saying something like, that level of change with our current budget, it'll never fly. Just instant rejection.
Right. A classic, maybe slightly humorous example people use is, well, you want to sell solar-powered umbrellas in Seattle?
Yeah, that'll never fly. Not enough sun.
Exactly. But in a serious business context, it could be. This overly complex marketing plan will never fly with the senior management team. It's far too expensive, and the projected ROI is just too low to justify the risk.
Precisely. It's a powerful, decisive rejection. Maybe too harsh sometimes, but definitely impactful.
Okay, we've reached our final section now. This one is dedicated to terms that can instantly upgrade your professional tone.
Yeah, these aren't just new words. Think of them as professional replacements for common, maybe slightly less formal phrases you might already use.
Right. Using these can make you sound more prepared, more in control, more, well, executive, perhaps.
Exactly.
We start with a very natural time phrase. It conveys a sense of urgency and preparedness, especially before something important happens.
It's be here any minute.
Be here any minute. Say it again. Be here any minute.
It's just a smooth, natural-sounding, fluent phrase used to say that someone or something will arrive very, very soon.
Yeah, imminently. And it often implies that preparations should be finalized immediately, like time's up. Right. Contrast it with just saying the CEO will arrive soon. That sounds okay.
Sure, it's fine.
But using be here any minute conveys a much greater sense of urgency, maybe a bit more professionalism in the workplace context. It suggests you're on top of the schedule.
Definitely. For example, is everything prepared for the important Q3 review meeting? The CEO will be here any minute. We must have all the data ready to go.
Perfect. Okay, next up, we have a crucial professional upgrade for the simple verb to think about.
Yes.
In high-level discussions, you don't just think about things casually, you weigh them strategically.
Just consider them.
Exactly. To consider. Let's hear it.
To consider.
Spelling.
CONSIDER, consider.
So how is to consider different from to think about?
Well, to consider is generally seen as more professional, slightly more formal. It means thinking about, yes, but more accurately, it implies thinking about something in depth, seriously weighing the options.
Ah, okay. So it implies more depth, more serious thought. Due diligence, maybe?
Exactly. Due diligence, respect for the complexity of the matter. If you tell a manager you're just thinking about a new sales strategy, it might sound a bit tentative, a bit vague.
Right, like you haven't really dug into it yet.
Yeah. But if you say, we should consider a new sales strategy, it conveys that you're prepared to analyze its feasibility, maybe present a concrete plan, weigh the pros and cons seriously.
Okay, that makes sense. So an example, the proposal for that 2-for-1 promotion sounds like something we should seriously consider before we commit the budget to the older, less effective strategy.
Perfect. It elevates the conversation immediately, shows serious intent.
Okay, finally, let's choose a really powerful adjective. One that can replace weaker affirmations like good or fine or okay.
Yeah, we need strong, positive language, too.
This word injects immediate enthusiasm and praise into an interaction. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. Again, slowly. Brilliant.
Spelling.
BRILLIANT. Brilliant.
So brilliant. What makes it so useful?
It's just a strong, positive adjective. You use it to express that something is excellent, extremely good, or, very often, that an idea is particularly smart or insightful.
Right. And the sources noted it's quite common in British English, but it's pretty widely understood and used everywhere now as a powerful compliment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's understood globally. It's really the ultimate affirmation in many ways, instead of just saying, oh, that's a good idea.
Which sounds a bit lukewarm sometimes.
It can, yeah. You
Okay.
say, that's a brilliant idea. I'm really glad we thought of that and brought it up in the meeting, especially before Mr. Swan arrived.
Nice tie-in, or combining some terms. This is a brilliant marketing plan. It will certainly drive sales far beyond what we initially expected because it effectively addresses the core socioeconomic factors of our target market.
Excellent synthesis. Yes, it's a word of powerful professional approval. Use it when you're genuinely impressed.
Okay, brilliant. Now, before we wrap up this pretty intense deep dive on vocabulary.
It has been quite packed.
It has. Let's just quickly circle back to a few related terms. These were found in the source materials review sections or vocabulary lists, and they really complement our discussion perfectly.
Good idea. Quick review.
Okay, first, we encountered the need for concrete solutions. What does that mean?
All right. When a manager or maybe a CEO asks for this, they're basically rejecting vague ideas or wishful thinking.
No more waffle.
Exactly. A concrete solution is a real, specific, actionable plan to solve a problem. It's not just a hope, it's a detailed set of practical steps you can actually implement.
Okay, specific and actionable. Got it. Then there's the overarching concept of sales strategy.
We talked about specific tactics like promotions and the goal of driving sales, but the sales strategy is the big picture. It's the grand plan.
The framework.
Yeah, the overall framework for all of a company's sales activities. It defines how they plan to approach the competitive market, who they're targeting, what channels they'll use, and how they'll execute their goals over the longer term.
Okay, the master plan for selling. And finally, maybe the ultimate measurement of long-term success, something that goes way beyond just a single transaction.
Ah, yes. Customer loyalty.
Customer loyalty, what is that exactly?
It's that phenomenon where a customer chooses to buy the same brand or from the same company repeatedly over time.
Even when competitors offer promotions.
Exactly. They resist the temptation of competitors, maybe ignore the lure of short-term promotions elsewhere because they trust or prefer your brand. It's the real long-term return on investment you get from providing consistent quality and service.
Building that loyal base.
Absolutely. So these three concepts, needing concrete solutions, having a clear sales strategy, and building customer loyalty, they really form the scaffolding, the underlying structure upon which all the specific vocabulary we've discussed today kind of sits.
That's a great way to frame it. They all connect. Hashtag tag outro. Wow. Okay, so this deep dive has really provided you, the listener, with, I think, a powerful inventory of professional English. We've ranged from the very formal precision of, say, GDP per capita and the critical executive summary,
The analytical side.
all the way to those highly effective dynamic phrases, like knowing when a bad proposal will never fly, or understanding the subtle benefit of using to consider to really elevate your conversational tone.
Yeah, you now have language tools, hopefully, that are necessary to navigate both that strategic planning meeting and also the more intense, fast-paced sales discussion.
Definitely. But, we can't end this deep dive without returning to the context that was provided in the sources, specifically the psychological impact of how language is used in the workplace.
Ah, yes. The case study with Clark and Mr. Swan.
Exactly. Remember this scenario. Clark, the middle manager, was constantly rejecting his employees' suggestions, calling them weak or uncreative.
Yeah, even when they were genuinely effective ideas like that 2-for-1 promotion suggestion.
Right. But then when the CEO, the big boss, Mr. Swan, arrived,
Everything changed.
instantly, the employee represented the exact same idea, and suddenly Clark pivoted completely. He started calling it a brilliant idea, saying, oh yes, they had in fact been seriously considering it internally already.
Total turnaround. Quite revealing about workplace dynamics.
It really is. So here's the final thought you want to leave you with, something to mull over, especially as you start mastering and using this new professional vocabulary.
Okay.
How might an encouraging manager versus a discouraging manager, like Clark initially was, affect the kind of vocabulary and the boldness of suggestions employees are willing to use in a meeting?
That's a fascinating question. If you know that your fluent, confident suggestions using words like consider or proposing concrete solutions will almost always be met with dismissals like it'll never fly.
Yeah.
Will you still bother using that rich, precise, confident language? Or might you start to just offer the safest, most basic suggestions simply to save yourself the hassle of constant rejection and criticism?
It's a real dilemma. Your mastery of this vocabulary gives you the power to articulate sophisticated ideas.
But your professional environment, the culture set by your managers, might dictate your confidence to actually use that power effectively.
Something to think about in your own workplace, perhaps.
Definitely. So we really encourage you to take immediate action. Don't just listen, apply. Try using 2 or 3 of these new words or phrases today.
Yeah, maybe send an email where you deliberately use to consider instead of just to think about, or describe a genuinely excellent plan someone proposes as brilliant.
Exactly. Practice is the only way to really solidify this knowledge and make it your own.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Yes, thanks for tuning in.
Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep considering brilliant ideas.